What is the flip chart? I'll show you right here. Everybody that becomes a USANA distributor gets this new BDS. If you have not gotten the new BDS because you've been a distributor, I would say when you go home today, order the new BDS. All future distributors will get this new BDS. And what comes in this BDS at the back is a flip chart. Okay? I use the flip chart in every presentation. Okay? All I will do, honestly, is I will flip this thing open. If I'm at a coffee shop or something, I'm not going to flip the thing up on a stand. With some girls this week, I don't pop the thing up. But what I'll do is I'll just lay it flat, and I'll just flip the pages. And you'll see here in a second why I use the flip chart. So if you have a flip chart, basically the presentation that I'm going to do on here is as if it were the flip chart. Okay? But obviously for sake of audience, we're going to keep it a little bit bigger. Why use the flip chart? Simple. Okay? It's simple. You just read off the page if you have to. Okay? Duplication. You will find that in this business, the way that you have success is by teaching people to be able to share this product. Okay? No offense, but the first time I heard Dr. Hirschcheck do this presentation, he did a little abridged Health and Freedom newspaper presentation, and he was good. I mean, he was like on top of his game. He did a great job of explaining everything, and I'm kind of a go-getter. I was like, I can do that. But honestly, for the first few months of my business, I tried to replicate what he had done, and I was getting no growth in my business. I was adding a lot of new distributors and a lot of new customers, but none of them were having success. Well, I went to convention a year ago, August, and I ran into Dustin Fields. Dustin Fields is, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe a 4-star Diamond Director. Okay?
Something like that.
That's a big deal, okay? Young guy, been doing this business for about 7 years. I said, Dustin, help me, man. I've got a lot of my friends and family involved in this business. I want all of them to see success. How did you get to where you're at? He looks at me and he goes, flip chart. No. I was like, I'm not popping that stupid thing up on the table. He looks at me and he goes, he looks down at his name tag that says 4-star Diamond Director, and he looks back at me and my little Bronze Director, and he goes, flip chart. All right, flip chart it is. Honestly. And Steve and I have argued about this, trying to figure out is it effective, is it not effective. I'll tell you right now, I've added close to 100 people in my business over the course of the last few weeks here. Okay, 100, because of the flip chart. I have some people in my organization here today that have seen the flip chart presentation, and I love it because one of the things that's been exciting for me is I'll go to Starbucks in Naperville or Wheaton or some of these suburbs, and I'll see my people using the flip chart. It's awesome. It's duplication. That's what we're looking for. It tells the whole story. Okay, you're going to see here in a second. Sometimes you assume that somebody's only interested in product. Sometimes we assume people are only interested in the business. Do not presuppose on people. Okay? With the flip chart, it's about 30 pages. You can go through it as quickly as you want to. It forces you to tell the whole story and let them decide what they want. Okay? You don't decide for them. How to start. Okay? When I meet with somebody, when I sit down and talk to a new person, the first thing you have to do is you have to build trust. Okay? And again, normally, trust should already be established much prior to the presentation. Okay? If you look at some of the people in my business, I mean, one of my best friends in the world right here, Daniel Weebrock. I'm not kidding. First couple of weeks of joining USANA, I called Weebrock up. He's a very successful suit salesman in Chicago. In fact, if any of you need suits, come talk to this man. He's a haberdasher, okay? Daniel's one of my best friends in the world, okay? He trusts me, okay? And I knew that this was a company that I could trust. I knew it was a product that I trusted. I knew it was a compensation plan that I trusted. The reason Daniel moved forward, I'll tell you right now, is not because I had some successful presentation. The reason he moved forward is because of the trust relationship that we had. Now, Daniel has gotten some people involved in this business, and some of the people that he's gotten involved in this business is because he built a trust relationship with them, and I was able to come in because of the respect that we have for one another and encourage them to do the USANA business. So again, trust is key. Okay, when I meet with somebody for the first time, I like to ask questions. Ask them about them. I genuinely want to know what makes people tick. I mean, honestly. And I've got actually a person in the back, David. Honestly, one of the first times I met with David, we sat down, and I wanted to know what drives him. You know, what's important to him. Ask him about his family. And honestly, what was funny was he was going through some different issues, and I honestly felt like, you know what, a health and freedom presentation would not be a good idea today. It wouldn't. So we ended up just spending time encouraging one another. We spent some time in prayer. We read through some scriptures together. And I ended up not even doing a health and freedom presentation with the guy. Honestly, I think that is what is key, is don't think, I have to do this presentation. I have to get all my points. That's putting too much pressure on the situation. Build relationships. Build rapport with people. Care about people. And I think if you genuinely do that, you'll see more success in your business. Determine their why. Why does somebody want to get involved in USANA? Is it because they have some health needs? Maybe they're type 2 diabetic. They need products. Maybe somebody hates their job. Okay? Dr. Hirschcheck has a phenomenal job. He had a great job, but he was overworked. He has 4 beautiful kids under the age of 10. Okay? You need to figure out what somebody's why is. And if you can figure out what their why is for growing their USANA business, how are you going to do that? The only way you're going to do that is if you ask questions. Okay, so I like to spend the first 5, 10, 15 minutes. I don't really put a cap on it unless we're kind of in a crunch for time. But really determine somebody's why, and then briefly tell your story. Why you got involved in USANA. Okay, I talk about my mom. I talk about what the product did for her. And then I talk about Dr. Hirschcheck. Now, one of the things that I will always do, okay, and I think this is important, is anybody that's seen me do a presentation, I will use 2 tools, okay? I use the income chart, which I'm going to show you here in a second, and I use this right here. So basically what I use is I have 2 pages that I use that you're going to see, and then I also use the flip chart. Okay, those are the only tools that I take with me to a presentation. Okay, and the reason that I use those tools is because I incorporate them into my story. I told you when I sat down with Dr. Hirschcheck, I wanted to know 2 things. Why are you building this silly vitamin business, honestly, and why does the product work so well? Those are the 2 questions I needed answered. So I think when I meet with somebody, I want them to know the answer to those 2 questions. Okay? If you don't understand leverage, you're going to understand it now. Okay? Most people do what is called the 40-year plan. Okay? They're going to work 50 hours a week, 50 weeks out of the year, which means they're working 2,500 hours a year. Steve's got 2,500 hours, you've got 2,500 hours, I've got 2,500 hours, Harry's got 2,500 hours. This number doesn't change. Okay, if you're worth 20 bucks an hour and you work this amount of hours, you're worth 50,000 bucks before taxes. Simple math. Most people trade time for money. Now, if you're a physician and this number goes up, congrats. You might have more money here. But my question is, does this number right here change? Because I tell you right now, time is our most precious commodity, not money. Time. Time with family, time traveling, time at church, time whatever that time is, that's what's most important. So I teach people to go on what's called the 4-year plan. Okay? 100 people working 10 hours a week is 1,000 hours of work being done on a weekly basis. 50 weeks out of the year times 1,000 hours per week, that's 50,000 hours per year. 50,000 hours of work being done compared to you being able to do 2,500 hours. That's a pretty vast difference, is it not? Now let's safely assume 10 bucks an hour. 10 bucks an hour times 50,000 hours per year, that's $500,000. Ah, that's why Steve's doing the vitamin business. I get it. It's a simple concept of leverage. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that the numbers work out perfectly, but it's to teach a concept. And you can ask any of my distributors, I will teach these concepts to people at the beginning of every single presentation because I want people to see what leverage is all about. And I'll tell you right now, you look at any successful corporation, whether it be First Trust in Wheaton, Chase Bank, Dick's Sporting Goods, you name it, there are people leveraging off of other people's time and other people's money. Some people understand it, some people don't. Quite frankly, I did not want to be a person trading time for money. My dad laughs because when I was getting started in my USANA business, I needed an income. So he provided some work for me. So old Harry and Ron here are making a mess, and I had to clean it up. You know, that's basically what happened. I was trading time for money. Well, as soon as my business started to grow, Dad would call me and say, hey, I need you. I don't want to trade time for money today. I'm sorry. So honestly, I want you to understand that concept. It's a simple concept of leverage.